Great to have your company for what will be considered one of the greatest days in competitive surfing history here at Jeffreys Bay for the Corona Open. Heat 1 of round 4 will decide our first quarter-finalists in this event, and it's an all-goofy affair. Joan Duru, the rookie, taking on the 2014 world champ Gabriel Medina, and a former semi-finalist in this event and the winner of the first contest on the schedule this season, Owen Wright. Pretty quickly during the break, Joan Duru picking off this one, Pete.
Sitting inside of his competitors, picking one that's going to load up, carrying a ton of speed into the first section there, carves back. You know, this kid, as much as he is quote-unquote a rookie here, has experience surfing jbay, and it shows. Connecting with the lip, again, showing variety, but this wave, again, speeds up through the impossible section, but he stays with it, and this is going to be a good start. You know, I'd like to apply that pressure early against, of course, the formidable Gabriel Medina and Owen Wright. So a nice completed ride for Joan Duru. Also during the break, Gabriel Medina, first wave there, very deep, way up top there, and this wave flattens out for the beginning stages of it. See what it'll do as it loads up, and love that release out of the tail from him, so strong. You know, talking about Gabriel, getting into a point in his career where he was weighty. He had picked up a lot of weight, was strong, big. Almost seems like he's leaned up once again, got a little more wiry frame. You know, his success was when he was a youngster because of how wiry and loose his surfing is. You can see right there, that shows. This wave was slow paced, but it was a little bit tough with all of those ribs in the face kind of being the first wave of the set. And then now Owen, so 3 surfers picking up their first waves here. Again, Owen likes to turn off that front foot rail, really off the curve of the outline, the template. Not able to get down the line though, so a throwaway score for Owen. And of course, one more wave for Joan Duru. Getting that quick start sets him up for this very long set. Look at this inside wall as it grows down the line. Grew too much. So just another throwaway score for Joan. And now Owen. I mean, what a start. That was what, a 10-wave set? These guys all picked up waves. Owen down the line here, and this wave, as it turns into the wind, it smooths out. Looking for a finish, which he gets. So I wouldn't say any excellent rides in all of those exchanges. Some good rides.
The best of them are 5.1, but Medina, he's the danger man at the moment. And he's up once again, driving through that first carve. Gets involved with the foam for a moment. Just chipping away, finding his flow, waiting for some major sections to stand up. Hooks off the bottom, under the lip once again. Now starting to set up the tube, grabs that rail, but hits a bump in the face and falls over the front of his board.
While you climb that whitewash, just so you glide over the potholes. Again, 7.33 for his first wave, which is a good score. You know, it was not an easy wave to ride, and he was able to produce that score off his talents and his abilities. You know, here again, slows up, and he starts to turn the corner. Starts to clean up with the wind. You know, it starts to change the angle. Here, grabs the rail, starts to stall, and it pushes him forward with that bump, with that wind.
Never makes mistakes like that, generally. And here we go. Joan Duru now has an opportunity to seize the lead. He needs a 5.68 from this ride. Just chose a funky line out of that section. And as a result, he went down. 24.5 minutes to go. Interesting, this one, Pete.
It is.
Massive set approaching here. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like endless lines, as journalist journalist Drew Campion said. Corduroy to the horizon, and surfers on massive, solid 8-foot waves.
Well, on the inside, we've got Joan Duru letting go of some big turns. Trying to put up an excellent score to really get his heat going. That's what's been needed to progress through the heats all day. And he handles a tricky section at the end of that ride. Sticks that float.
So again, it stayed on the reef. It had the best scoring potential, and he executed. He gets to 7.5. Look at the set outside. I mean, Owen's on a much bigger wave, but that wave's going to shut down on him, and it's going to be a fairly low score, whereas Joan Duru is attacking the lip. Although he got pushed way down the point. When he ends this ride, look at that. Straight up vertical. The final move there, big float that hangs on. Even after the floater mistake, the 2.37, he's able to turn it around and get the best wave of the heat, but he got beat all the way down until the end of that set. Finally, the ski grabbed him. So those are two that are critical kind of in that mid part of the year, and you can really kind of bring back your season at that point, knowing where you are in the beginning of the season of the championship tour.
Here we go. Owen Wright trying to make the jump from third up into first. He needs an 8.23. Ducks under cover there for a moment, but he's got his eyes fixed down the line as he hooks into the pocket now. A solid hit, a big tall wall to play with, and he whacks it once again. So that'll be his best wave.
Right in the mix now. I mean, and now each surfer has a solid wave. Nothing excellent yet, but a 7.33 for Medina, a 7.5 for Joan Duru. You feel like this score is going to be right there in that same level. So the heat is on.
17 minutes and 20
Crack yourself
seconds
up,
to
Ronnie,
go.
huh?
Oh, I'm having a great time, Pete. Sorry that one went over your head.
It did, way over. Here we go. Let's take a look at this replay here. Clean wall. I mean, the angle of the wind turned a little bit. So this wave nice and smooth. And these last two turns, very critical. That one there, vertical, and then again, stays with it with speed. Analyzes this wave to a T, and you bring that kind of opinion in.
Here we go, Medina up, tucking in on the first section, getting a nice pit. Solid little hit under the lip there. Wants to stay with this one. Gets that little hop happening to get down the line. Sticks it to the lip. A little float to set up this inside run through the barrel. He's still rolling through this one. That's got to feel good. And more to give on the inside. Really pushing hard on the tail through the end of that backhand carve and bashing over the foam on that last section.
And that barrel on the inside, even this one on the outside. I mean, straight into it. Comes out clean with speed. Little down carve. It sets up the midsection there. That was a critical hit. Wasn't an easy section. He's had to turn down underneath the lip. You know, the only slow part there was he had to kind of hop to get around it, but he connects with the lip again and then sets this up. Wasn't going to make a mistake this time. Barely slowed down, just flies out of it. And again, to finish, very strong. He does that. A lot of variety for these backhand turns as well. So I would say this is, you know, again, it's pretty easy to say it's going to be the best wave of the heat, you know, but upwards of how much better than the 8 of Owen. See that hop there? He had to get around that section. Somehow connects, but look at this, setting up this barrel here. And this is, those little kick stalls are what slows him down. And look at, he just pulls right in, up on the foam ball. Had the stability to grab the arm and put the hand into the wall, and that really helps you to keep that speed and tightens you up, makes you a lot smaller so you can get through that barrel.
Got ready and went out there and did what I had to do.
And coming up against a fellow Australian, especially Jack, you've probably surfed against him in junior contests. I mean, what is that like for you?
Yeah, Jack's a great surfer. I've surfed against him a bit, and he's well, pretty much anyone on their forehand's pretty scary with the barrels out here. They're really tricky and kind of pulsy barrels, so on your backhand it's really hard, but I've been watching natural footers all day get nice barrels, so I knew I was going to stick to trying to do big turns on big sections, and I was pretty sure Jack was going to hunt some barrels. And when I turned around after my second score, I saw him coming out of the barrel, and I was like...
Owen's coming off the back of 2 magic performances here at Jeffreys this year, and at the moment, nothing's going right for him. Here we go, Joan Duru chasing down that 8.91. He also had a bizarre fall on his last ride. Having a good go at this ride though. Nice little float. Has so much speed. There's a solid finish. Love how he whipped his board up into the pocket then.
You know, I think that the amount of speed carried throughout all those maneuvers, the judges will take notice. Again, that finish, high impact with a ton of speed. The floater, so sketchy in the wind, you know, but it set him up with all that speed.
until he washed off the appropriate amount to let go of a big turn with a lot of momentum at the end.
Remember the fall that he had, the funky fall?
That start was huge.
Yeah, it was, and that's exactly what he needed to do. But right here, you see, he almost does the exact same thing again, where he almost stumbled and fell forward, a little stick of the rail, but keeps it together. And then this floater, you know, he's looking for the barrel and then adjusted straight into the floater, but there, carves it back, and then the high impact move here, bang, nice and vertical. Judges will eat that part of it up. He had the good start, 8.91. Ah, gosh, we'll see. I mean, here's the 9. We can compare it right here for us. I mean, you folks at home, the barrel is really the difference for me. You know, and then there's a couple big turns in this one too. I mean, the slow middle, but this last exchange with the barrel, I mean, this is a solid barrel.
Owen Wright's having a look at this one. We're waiting on a huge score to drop for Joan Duru, wondering if it's going to get him in the lead. Owen Wright, meanwhile, at this stage of the game, looking for an 8.41. So well paced. But he goes down once again, so he's fallen on his last 3 waves now.
Yeah, that's critical for Owen.
Let's see what Medina can do. He might be chasing a score with this ride. Oh, just readjust in time to get that turn off and have enough speed to get down the line. So some real size in the conditions. And he's celebrating.
He's sure selling it. There was a turn on this wave on the outside that we're going to see in the replay. It was mental. How hard is that takeoff at this point in the day? You're tired, fatigued, and he somehow pulls it off and keeps the speed and does a turn like that. Again, look at this section here. Big section, tags it, carries all that speed. So he's had high impact moves on the outside on a solid set wave. You would feel like this is going to better the 733. The only real region that got a little weird for him, he had to turn down, but celebrates the finish, because I feel like all of that surfing he did on the outside section, those big moves on the outside, count for a lot.
We've got another big round 4 clash coming your way right after this. Don't miss it. Frederico Moraes, Mick Fanning and John Florence about to head out. Martin Potter and Joe Turpel will step in for the call.